Hi, everyone, and welcome to Home Finders, a podcast by Property Finder where you can get the inside scoop on all things the world of real estate. I'm your host, Scott Bond, and in today's episode, we're talking about a success story, and we're talking to a powerhouse here in the real estate industry. But before we do that, I want to share some statistics. According to the Dubai Land Department, women make up the majority of real estate agents, 60% in fact. But what's concerning to us is only 3% of the decision makers in the industry are women. Of course, as we know, there are several high-profile female real estate agents here in the UAE, but the decision makers and owners are far and few between. That's why today's topic is so important for us to be talking to Safura, a owner and operator right here in the real estate business.
Thank you, Scott, for having me today.
Of course.
It's a great honor for me to represent an industry female, which, as you said, 60%. As per the statistics. And it's an essential part of the industry when it comes to the agents, but unfortunately not as the leaders and the managers. So I'm here today to break the myth that we can and we are essential part of this industry. And later on, while we speak, I'll explain you why I achieved and why who am I today. It's simply because of my beliefs.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about that. And thank you for that intro. But let's talk about why did you choose to get into this industry? And maybe what are those motivational factors for you that have made you such a success?
It was just a funny fact. You won't believe it. Me coming to Dubai and working in hospitality first and then in the beauty industry, selling cosmetics. When one day I've heard from a colleague of mine saying that, oh, wow, that was back in 2006, saying, you know what, Safura, actually, in Dubai, now everyone is still selling properties. I said, really? What is that? You know, and then she said, oh, yeah. There are companies hiring agents and probably you should try. So I actually scratched my head and said, why not? I applied first CV and I got my job the next day because my answer to the interviewer, who was the owner of the company, by the way, she was a great woman. When she asked me, Safura, why do you think you can sell a property? My answer was, if I sell perfumes and lipsticks, I can sell your property. She told me, come tomorrow morning, you are hired. So that's how I started. It was not planned. I had no idea how real estate worked. And I actually stepped into the industry at the, well, you see, it's difficult to say that was a boom in comparison to what we're having now because the number of projects were not even the quarter what we're dealing with now. But back then, for me and for a new starters, it really felt like it was a boom. And everyone was busy. I was just given a desk, given a laptop and saying, good luck. I had no trainings. I had no guidance. All I had to know, I had to actually learn the paper brochures of the projects and figure out myself, because every time I was asking my colleagues, senior ones, what to do and what to say, they were telling me, sorry, we're too busy. And everyone was too busy collecting deposit checks. So I don't consider it's unfortunate that I was not trained or guided or mentored. I had to learn it my way, organically, hard way. But now I look back and say that, look, if I wouldn't have it that way, maybe I would not be sitting here today in front of you.
Yeah, for sure. It created you, right? It made you
Correct.
Who you are today.
Because as we know, difficult times create strong people and good times create weak people.
Yeah.
So difficult times really created me as a strong agent, first of all. And then that's my nature. I can't just do things in a regular way. I always have to stand out, not in front of someone, but in front of myself.
Sure. Safura, tell me about maybe experiences you've had in the real estate industry that have shaped your views as a woman in the business.
what shaped me, particularly in real estate industry, is again my ability to have that resilience, not only as a woman, but as an agent itself, to a demand of the clients, to a fast evolving market itself. So again, I look more into the advantage part as a woman, what I can input to the industry, rather than looking for disadvantages or what's there on my way as an obstacles and etc. I don't know. I just try to look on things not completely on a positive way, but also on a realistic way. So if someone says, do you had or have you faced any difficulty being a woman in this industry? No.
That's fantastic then.
No. Because it's a misperception that I always break, and I want to break that again and again and again, because I know hundreds of entrepreneurs, not only in real estate, in services, in production. They are successful women, and if you talk to them, none of them will tell you, Scott, that they had to fight for their success. They had to work hard, but not fight. So the myth, especially for people who never lived in UAE, it's another big myth that here we have to prove that we have rights and etc. Wrong, completely wrong. I am telling you, I never had problems or obstacles where I had to really prove myself that I can do that because I'm a woman. Contrary, I had to say it to myself, because what's my excuse not to be successful? Just for me, just say to myself, oh, I can't do that because I'm a woman. So it all comes from your belief within you. Again, I'll repeat myself on my behalf, and I'm sure my friends, my female entrepreneur friends would agree with me that we never had to fight. All we had to do, hard work with passion and discipline.
That's fantastic to hear. And what I'd love to do is learn a little bit more about that mindset. You talk about this mindset that you have from within. Is that something that you've always had, or did you have to develop that over time?
I had to develop. I had to develop. Again, how? By my own mistakes. I had to develop the skill that I had within me, but it was always not active or validated, And of course, when you are 20, 30, things seem to you more dramatic. And when you are 40 plus, things...
That experience brings different perspective all of a sudden.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because these days you can get knowledge, irrelevant you are 20, 30 or 50. You can get knowledge, you can buy it. But you cannot buy experience. That comes only with time. And only with time you realize that it's all about mindset. Now, when a woman, whether it's an agent or entrepreneur or anyone else, being a female who wants to achieve something and to strive, and thinking that will I have challenges, gender separation and all, it all starts from you, darling. That's what I say.
Yeah.
Because if you don't believe in yourself as a female, why should someone? Why should society believe in you? Why your team who would like to follow you would believe in you, or why your colleagues or management? So it all starts from yourself. And I don't want to sound aggressive, but it's easy to say, they don't let me, I feel less, I feel bad, than saying, you know what, I can do that.
Yeah.
So that's my belief, and that's what I try to explain and to mentor the new generation of female brokers or even entrepreneurs, saying that, listen, it's all in your head. No one told me, Safura, you have to be entrepreneur, you have to stand out and do this and that. No, because I said to myself, I believe in myself, I can do that, and I did that.
That's amazing. And that mindset is obviously what's driven your success. And also, I think it's what has made you such a great fit to be a part of our She for She program, that we're doing here at Property Finder that we just launched a couple months ago. And I want to say thank you for your participation in that as a mentor. Your experience is amazing to have as part of this group. But I have to imagine, early in your career, you were looking for some of this support. Now you're able to give it back. Was this something that you've learned over time, that maybe you have a role to be able to play in the industry?
Scott, first of all, I would like to thank Property Finder to come up with this unique initiative where we were not lucky enough to have it back then. The reason I'm calling it unique, because it's never been initiated in the market. I'm not sure in other industries, but I can tell you for sure in real estate, never was the case. Now, me participating in this great initiative, She for She, is something new for me as well, because that's the fresh journey for me to be an official mentor. Look, I mentor on a daily basis. Whether female or male, I mentor on a daily basis. That's my role, that's my league I need to carry. But have I done that 10 years or 5 years ago? No. Sorry, I was too busy. I was too busy growing the business. I was too busy catching up with the new trends in the market. I was too busy to achieve what I had as a goals for 5 and 10 years. Now, the program, I am an honored participant, is, like I said, it's something new for me that I am still learning. And for me, giving my knowledge and my experience, which is not by books, it's also very important. Because 10 mentors that I'm honored to be with, I know each of them. None of them came with an experience that they learned by book. All of us, we have a good luggage of experience behind us by doing everything ourselves, by achieving success, by making mistakes, so on and so forth. So for all of us, it's actually a new thing to do, but the value behind this initiative is simple. For me, for example, if I change a life of one woman and I show her by my own example, by my own experience, and I take her by hand through the path I went through, which I was never lucky enough to hold someone's hand. And if I can change her life and make it better, and then in return, she changed another 10 lives and inspires, and that 10 will inspire another 10 and another 100, it means what I seed is endless.
Okay, so let's talk real here. We see all these reality TV shows, and over the last several years, we've seen real estate get completely glamorized on all these different shows, and we know the shows that we're all mentioning here. How much of that is real? Is that a true day in the life of somebody in real estate?
So no, none of it is real, because first of all, we don't do viewings on 10-inch hill. And but however, as I mentioned, the real estate and selling skills and techniques have evolved, involving social media, involving publicity. That part might be true and it's working, but 99.9% what you see on those series are not true. So what I would suggest to the new generation of brokers, realtors, rather having a mentor who is long enough in the industry with both feet in the industry, which means also doing viewings, also participating in negotiations, discussing contract points, clauses, and etc., rather watching 10 or 12 hours of a series or YouTube channels, except this podcast. Yeah. Again, you can read thousands of books. You can watch series. You can, again, watch thousands of hours of YouTubes. But if you don't do this in a practice on a daily basis with someone more experienced, going back to the series, they are good to watch as entertainment and a good laugh.
Yeah. So
not more than that.
Yeah. Well, it's good to know that we're debunking the myth that that's exactly what real estate looks like, because we all know, those of us in the industry, we know it's not true. But you did say something that's fascinating, which is the building the brand side or the social media side. How important is that today in order to be successful in the industry?
Very important, essential. As an old schooler of realtors, which is again, 15 years is not that long in comparison to Europe or US markets. For Dubai is significant to see the evolution of what I mentioned that we used to be advertised on the newspapers. Today, any agent should have a strong tool as a social media. The impact of a social media these days, and I believe this is an essential part of a new generation of realtors, of brokers, to have a strong stand in social media. For me, as an old schooler, I am trying to catch up because I know I have to. It's unfortunate for me because I'm not used to, and I've never done that. But it's fortunate for the new generation because these days it's more important to be exposed good enough than to have a strong knowledge as you would think that it's good enough. It's not good enough anymore. You can have a strong knowledge, you can have a strong stand within the area or within the market you're working in, but if you're not strong in your social media, you might lose a deal.
Yeah, that brand
because
exposure's
someone
key.
else can come there just 3 months in the market, but quite exposed, can easily take the deal of you. So to have an additional, an essential tool as a social media is very important.
Yeah. Is that advice that you give to new joiners today?
Absolutely.
What other advice are you giving to them?
I start with the basics and fundamentals because I'm not here to invent a bicycle. I just tell them on what the table stands on the main pillars.
The foundations.
Foundations. But then it's because you see, when I said experience is where you can see and compare what was back then and what's now, and you can analyze. So when you analyze what was working back then and what's working now, you basically see where you have to have your add-ons to your team, to someone you want to lead or mentor. So those new add-ons are definitely a social media and exposure. And working on a self-brand. Also very important.
Yeah. Okay, Safura, I want to say thank you once again for joining us here today. I think we covered a lot of different ground, both from your journey in real estate, the evolution of the cycles, on top of it too, just the mindset that you bring. And I think it's so important for us to think about risks versus making mistakes and how we learn along the way. On top of it too, we got a chance to talk a little bit about the these real estate shows and how maybe they're not exactly representing real estate in the way that we believe they are, but hey, they're fun along the way. So I just want to say thank you so much for your time. It was wonderful to spend with you, and thanks for joining us here on the podcast.
Thank you.